Hurricane season is here, folks, and it's going to be a doozy. We're going to talk about it on today's Hot Zone.
This is the Hot Zone. Engaging with the news in a whole new way, international war correspondent Chuck Holton brings insight into areas of crisis and lets you help those affected.
Hey folks, Chuck Holton here. Thanks for being a part of the Hot Zone. It's been a busy couple of weeks, and I've been sort of off-gassing here at the house. If you haven't seen our new podcast, which is called The Arms Room, it's a virtual men's breakfast that we have every Saturday. We get 2 or 3 guys to come on and give a short devotional, some motivational talk, and just kind of encourage guys who are, let them know we're all going through this together. And it's really taken off. So I hope you'll check it out. That's Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. Eastern. And you can get it on Facebook Live on my Facebook account, my personal one, because that's the only one I can get to right now. And otherwise, you can join the call if you're among the first 100 guys to log on. So that's 9 a.m. Eastern. You're going to want to check that out. Now, let's talk about hurricanes. It looks like this is going to be a doozy of a hurricane season. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration is saying that they are likely to run out of names for hurricanes this year because they're forecasting a much higher than average hurricane season. We're already well into that season, and we're apparently setting records already for the number and the severity of hurricanes. So listen to this meteorologist talk a little bit about where we are right now.
The one thing we can certainly all agree upon, and there is strong consensus on the fact that hurricanes are getting stronger throughout the basin. I mean, since 1995, we've observed hurricane regions. We've observed stronger and greater impact to our region than in other parts of the globe. The forecast that you see coming out of the Hurricane Center does cover a certain amount of days, but it comes at not necessarily a cost, but it does really extend beyond just that 2 or 3 days that most people are more concerned with. We try to look at the overall trend of not only that forecast, but all the forecast models and their tracks. The big thing for any public, anyone out in the public is just to make sure that they are watching the local channels for weather impacts. And I'm not trying to shill for any particular station, but to be aware, whether it's on your own personal device, whether it's through the internet, radio. Weather radios are always great to have, or television. Just be aware, because this is going to be one of those seasons that we're going to be talking about for some time going forward. Whether you live down there in more hurricane-prone areas or not. Again, going back to my folks in my peeps back in Chicago, we had a storm, Josephine, go all the way up into Wisconsin. So you too can be reached by a tropical system, so be aware.
So as you're watching this, I'm likely on my way to Lafayette, Louisiana, where I'm going to ride out these 2 hurricanes. And we're going to see something here that we may not have ever seen in our lifetimes, and that is 2 named hurricanes striking the Louisiana coast within 48 hours of each other. That is going to be amazing. And if you recall, about 15 years ago, Hurricane Katrina hit New Orleans and caused $151 billion of damages and the loss of 1,800 lives. Unbelievable devastation. I was actually in Iraq during the war when Hurricane Katrina hit, and I remember Iraqis coming up to me, and they had heard about it. And you're talking about people whose homes have been destroyed by Al Qaeda. Their fighting is going on all around their homes, and they're coming up to me and saying, "Oh, you're an American? Well, we're really sorry to hear what's happening to you in Hurricane Katrina in Louisiana." So let's hope that this is not going to be anywhere near as bad, but it has the hallmarks of a absolutely brutal 1-2 punch onto the Louisiana coast. So I'm going to keep you updated. Stay tuned to my podcast, because I'm going to be in Louisiana for the rest of this week reporting on the hurricanes.
We don't know what to expect, I mean, is it going to be a catastrophe, or is it going to be just a lot of rain?
My essentials are paper towels, diapers, Diet Cokes, and we got a bunch of canned foods and fruit, and popcorn. So we're ready to go. So I think it seems to be moving pretty quickly, and it's not that strong. So I'm hoping it's rain event and the power stays on, but it could go off.
Batteries, probably flashlights, stocking up on food, and trying to park the car in the highest point possible we can find.
I like doing hurricane reporting in some ways. It's because it's much better than having to report on riots and protests, which are really lame and they get old very quickly. Hurricanes, every single one is different, and aside from the fact that you kind of have to, the story is the same. Oh, it's really wet. Wow, it's really windy. It's raining really hard, and it's flooding. But aside from that, like I say, everyone is different, and the human element of it is always something that really just gets you right in the heart. So, like I say, stay tuned. And if you want to support the podcast, you can go to patreon.com/hotzone, or you can go to victormarks.com/hotzone and actually have a tax deductible donation there. We try to take the donations that come in to the podcast, just so you know, and use them to help the people that we're reporting on. So I imagine that this week, as the first hurricane is hitting New Orleans right as you're watching this, most likely, and the second one will hit it on Wednesday. So you're talking at Hurricane Laura and what's the first hurricane? Marco, Hurricane Marco. So both of those hurricanes have the potential to cause huge storm damage, lots of storm surge, flooding, and Louisiana is a pretty low-lying place anyway. There's always a lot of flooding up there. I'm going to be traveling with Congressman Captain Clay Higgins, and so that ought to get me some access to places that other journalists might not get to go. So stay tuned.
The Hot Zone is produced by Amy Holton and Livefire Media. Copyright 2019.